our politicians feel emboldened to share misinformation and pass it on as fact. I've been into a number of these events, and I would tell you, on a repeated basis, our mayor tells us that we used to be on the top 10 list, number 2 as the highest violent crime before she took office. We have any chance of having our homelessness situation solved? It's just not going to happen. In 2018, so far, we've placed 41 people, according to her own report from her office. 41 people. 41 people puts us on a 50-year timeline to put the current population of homelessness in Oakland into homes. Then she tells us that she stood up to Trump. I tell you, there is no way that I could ever believe that the best way to communicate with the Spanish-speaking, undocumented immigrants is by doing a press release in English and broadcasting it to the world. That was a publicity stunt that did nothing but to endanger their lives, jeopardize the wellness of all Oaklanders, and actually risk federal funding. You don't play those kinds of games with your community just for the sake of your own personal political gain. Another conversation. The question to you is, in our country today, in America, what is the number one problem? And I'm actually going to wait until somebody says something.
Money.
I heard poverty, money, and homelessness. Underline, go one layer lower. I tell you what it is, it's racism. It's racism in our country. Every single one you just mentioned, they are symptoms of racism. Okay? You don't need to go to Charlottesville, you don't need to go to Charleston, you don't need to go to the White House to find racism. Racism is right here at home, alive and well. I tell you, the OPD has been under the federal monitor for 15 years because of its racist practices. We should be outraged, we should be in the streets every single morning when we get up and we go and march down to City Hall. Nothing has happened. Nothing has happened in 15 years. Nothing has happened in 4 years ago. Nothing has happened in 2 years since we have the new chief. Nothing will happen unless we hold the city and the mayor accountable for our racist practices in the largest department of our city. In the largest department of our city, we have racist practices that are every 90 days validated by the monitor, comes in and reviews our data and says, yep, you have racist practices, I'll see you in 90 days. This is not my data, this is not my opinion, this is just fact. Okay? That's why I'm in this race. That's why I'm in this. That's why I've been a member of the 5 years and a member of the steering committee. We pushed Measure LL through with 7 commissioners, but we were held hostage. We were held hostage by the mayor saying, I will not allow this to get on the ballot unless
what the intention was.
The Measure LL is intended to be independent. The word independent is integral to Measure LL. It's a separation of the control and the oversight of the city's police department and pushing it under a citizen oversight, not under itself. It is the biggest joke when the police department investigates itself. This is no different than Saudi Arabia saying, I'm going to investigate that incident in my consulate office in Istanbul myself. I tell you how it turns out. I tell you how it turns out. Every single officer who was involved in that sex scandal got off scot-free, and many of them got promoted. That's what the commission is intended to do. But what the mayor is doing, and her administration, and the city attorney, they're standing in the way, and they are refusing to allow the commission to have its own legal representation. Unless the commission has its own separate and independent legal representation, it will not be able to do the work that the people of Oakland voted for at 83% approval rating for that measure. It will not be able to do that. Product of a quality public education, right? And I know what a difference it makes when you have quality education versus poor quality education. My program, I have a $25 million annual budget set aside for education-related initiatives alone. And they are not, and I'll tell you what they are not, and I'll tell you what they are. My initiative will do nothing inside of the classroom. So the exchange between the teacher, the curriculum, and the student inside the four walls of the classroom will remain as is. Everything that's around it will be impacted. There will be a thorough review of everything that we do for our students. And the review, actually, I shouldn't even emphasize the review because you already know what the problem is, and this is the problem with the city, so we tend to do a lot of studies and not much work. We know what the problem is. We would have after-school programs, summer school programs, vocational training. Cedric was talking about it. I am personally a beneficiary of having gone through the mechanic shop and all those types of things. I changed the oil in my own car for many, many years. You know, I've changed the brakes, I did a lot of things. And a lot of the trades, well-paying jobs. And then, in addition to that, I would have the arts programs and a lot of the, just everything else around to ensure a solid and rich educational experience by the time our students graduate from high school. By allowing to do that, we allow our students to discover their talent, to discover what they really want to do, and then tap into that. Not every single person, again, I'm all about higher education, don't get me wrong, but not every single person, not all my classmates went into higher education, but I will tell you, most of my classmates, if not all of them, are successful in life because they did what they wanted to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so, and if it was left up to you, if you were mayor, what would you do to change that?
The question is, I don't know the answer, frankly. Are we having a hard time recruiting, or is it not in the budget, right? So I cannot definitively give you an answer, but I would tell you, I would make it a priority, and I've said this before, there is a gray area. So the mayor and the city's budget, for example, cannot pay for a teacher's salary, just so you know, right? Well, we can do things to attract teachers to our city. We can offer them housing assistance, so now they can live near where they work. They don't have to have a long commute, for example. We can subsidize supplies for the chemistry laboratory, right? We can actually purchase stuff and put them in there. Make it a place where a teacher wants to go to work. I've spoken to a lot of teachers, and the teacher's number one request is, just do everything else for me. Give me counselors, give me, support staff and all that, so I can just focus on teaching. There's no other attraction for a teacher other than the experience.
Needed things that in order to teach children. And as so many administrations are our future, and they get in there, and administration after administration, they break promises, they lie to people. We're not stupid. We know